We are here today with the Curb Depot, and what we're doing is looking at an installation process, landscape curbing install. This is a company that helps us out with some of our training called Curbscape, and what we did is we went on location to watch them start to finish on an average job. This particular job, roughly 200 linear feet, a little bit more, a crew of 3 people were able to get done in about 3.5 hours. This job was roughly $1,300, I believe, for the customer, of which about $1,000 of that is profit. It's a very profitable business. What you can see here is we're obviously setting up the equipment and preparing for the installation. You can see the trailer and the equipment is kind of getting set up and staged in place. The plastic is being removed. Most people can relate with the black plastic edging. That's the stuff that most often we're getting ripped out and taking out and disposing of for the customers. Followed by the sod, of course. The sod is going to be removed and hauled away, or it could be left for the homeowner if they want the sod. You can see here as the sod is being rolled up, quite often that's good sod that could be used somewhere else as well. Once the sod is removed, you would simply want to follow that up with a shovel, with a flat spade nose, just to get that trench nice and clean. In this case here with Curbscape, they are hauling the sod away, and they include in their price all disposal of the sod and plastic. A lot of the companies, when they first start out, don't need to go to that extreme at that point. Once you get into a market that you need to maybe start offering some different services, if you will, you usually see something like that kind of fall into place. Here you can see the trench. You can notice it's only about 1.5 inches deep. And that's all the deeper that you want, because when you extrude that curb into that, the object, of course, is to have the front edge of the curb be flush with the lawn, so it's nice and friendly for the lawnmower. Okay, so the trench has been cut. The preparation's all been done. Everything's set up and staged, and now we're starting to mix. The one thing I did not note is prior to the crew showing up, the job was already sprayed out, meaning it was spray painted on the ground where exactly the curb is going to go. And that was done by the foreman or the owner of the company ahead of time when they meet with the homeowners and do the final pick of the color, the stamp process, and the spray out of the design. Again, we're here at the mixing process, and as you can see, we're adding in cement, bagged cement, which is Portland Type 1 cement, fiber mesh, 4 parts sand. So essentially it's 4 buckets of sand versus 1 bag of cement. And that's additive that we use, pretty much unique to the Curb Depot, that we train all of our customers on. What is special about that additive is that it comes in a liquid or powder form, but what's special about that additive is that it waterproofs the product all the way through. It increases workability. It serves as a bonding agent, and it's just an overall security measure, if you will, in the cold climates. When you have the freeze-thaw cycles, you want to have the stronger product that's going to be less susceptible to cracking. The mix has been brought over to the extruder, and as you can see, this particular mix was a little bit dry, so they're sprinkling a little extra water on there. That's usually okay to do here in the wheelbarrow. You don't want to do it on the curb once the curb is extruded. When the curb is extruded and finished and you have that nice red, smoothed out concrete, if you sprinkled water on that, you'd see some spotting. So definitely don't do it at that point. You can see the mix is very dry. Grab a handful of it and squeeze it and have it stand in your hand like a snowball. Here we are, we're starting the extrusion process, and we're shoveling in that dry mix. Now, when I say dry mix, I mean it's a zero slump concrete mix. Your traditional concrete comes out more liquefied. It's definitely slumped. It needs to fit into forms. In this case, the form is right on the front of the extruder, given any particular shape that the homeowner chose. In this particular case, this is the slant style mold, and you can see right there, that's a nice shot of the lever. That little lever opens up, lifts up, that mold comes off and is put back on. You can see with the curbing being zero slump, it comes out of the extruder standing right up. The nice feature of the GT1000 that's patented by us is the swing arm drive technology. What you see with the swing arm drive technology is right here. It's a perfect shot. There's no undercarriage or track and trolley. There's no guts of the machine down below this moving mechanism. That moving mechanism there is called the plunger. Above that is the swing arm. So combined is the swing arm drive. As that moves backwards and forward, it's extruding out the product. The problem with the other machines that have that undercarriage, that track and trolley, is the concrete will fall down into those moving parts and create downtime and maintenance. In this case, you can see the concrete falls directly down to the ground. It fills out any voids. The ram moves forward and backwards with a slightly arching motion, and it gives you a really nice, tight, void-free, compacted product. As you can see here, we're coming to the end of a run, and we're meeting up with the sidewalk. And what happens at this point is you'll simply see in a second as we lift the machine out of the way, run it to the end, and then you simply need to put a little bit of extra material there and finish it off with a margin trowel. The key to doing an end is, as you see right here with the margin trowel, is just to get a nice beveled end so it runs flush with whatever the surface is that you run up to, that you don't end up with a tripping hazard. Here's a great shot of finishing. Now, the finishing trowel, of course, fits over the mold that you just extruded. And the object of this is just to get a nice smooth finish. You can see that the curb is standing nice and firm and look void-free, no big cracks, no big issues. You're simply just smoothing this over to get a really nice smooth finish. The process after the finishing is going to be when you roll in your stamps and really get decorative with this. So the finishing is the part just prior to that you really want to make sure everything looks smooth. You may want to step back, take a look a little bit from a distance and make sure that you're maintaining a nice level product as well. If you put too much pressure on the trowel, you might create dips. Not enough, you might have some high spots. Now here's what you see goes into our stamping process, and this is done with a stamping roller. In this case, we also have impression tools. This particular stamp process here is rolled in with a release powder. The release powder is a powder that roller would be dipped into of different colors and allow you to roll that into the wet cement without the roller sticking to the wet cement. So it allows you to put the impression in. Now the key to the different colored release agents is that you can get creative here with a secondary color as well. Now you don't see the secondary color, but if you look closely enough, you do kind of see a little bit of a powdery, kind of a brownish look. When the sealer is applied at the very end of the job, that will jump out as a dark brown color, and that's what will appear as your grout. Here's a great shot of the cut joints. This is for expansion. All landscape curbing needs to have cut joints. Now in this case, again, in the northern regions, you cut those joints a little bit closer together. If you're down in Florida or in the southern regions, you could expand those joints quite a bit further. About 2 feet apart between expansion joints is recommended. Again, the additive that we suggest that you put in, and a couple other minor techniques that are just very important to make this work in the north. We've been installing landscape curbing for years, putting in hundreds of thousands of feet very successfully without any issues. And I can tell you over the years of using all these different landscape curbing machines, when we finally developed our own machine, it was based on all that we liked and didn't like about the other machines. And as you can see, what we've produced is a great extruder, and it produces a wonderful curb. Again, this entire job was done in about a half a day, less than half a day, with great profits.